Right, we are live, and today for this live we are going to be answering 50 more questions that I get asked as a 10+ year raw vegan, and we only have an hour to get through these questions, so we will start working on those because in 1 hour from now at 4 p.m. PST, Nate is going to be in the kitchen making one of the cracker recipes from his brand new cracker ebook called Crack, Spread, Repeat. So it's a seed cracker book, and he's going to show how to make one of the crackers. And then tomorrow, he's going to show how to make the pea guacamole. So if you're interested in that, please go follow my husband, Raw Natty Nate, and with an 8 at the end, and check out his channel as well because he's going to be going live. He's actually live right now on Jennifer Diamond's YouTube. So yeah, we have an hour to get through these questions, so let's begin. If you have any questions, please post in the chat. I wouldn't mind adding those to these 50. So first up, how do you make sure you're getting enough calories without cooked grains or legumes? Great question. So the calories, the huge bulk of calories that I get are mainly from fruit. Dates, bananas, citrus, mangoes, any kind of fruit is where I'm getting the bulk of my calories. Then I'm getting a lot of other calories from the salads and the greens that I eat as well to make sure that I get enough calories through the day. I also use Chronometer to track sometimes to make sure that I'm getting enough. Once you learn what you need, then you don't need to track all the time, but it's nice to have that. And for legumes, we still use legumes. We use chickpeas, peas, lentils, and mung beans, and we sprout them. So we still have those longevity friendly items in our raw diet. We just sprout them so they're easier to digest. There's more protein, there's more vitamins and minerals when they're sprouted, easier to digest. So we do those in our raw diet. Next, question 2. What's your go-to strategy for keeping raw meals interesting week after week? Well, I must say that the best way to do that is to try new recipes. And the best way to do that is to grab the bundle. Link is in my bio here on Instagram or in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube. I don't mind if you leave the live to go get the bundle because you only have until May 11th. If you're watching on YouTube, just pause the video, go grab the bundle, and then come back and you can watch the rest. But make sure that you download all the files before June 30th. That's the deadline to download. But once you download them onto your device, it only takes 5 minutes, then they're yours forever until you delete the files. So download them onto your device and then you can access them from your device indefinitely. So the strategy that I use to keep my meals interesting every week is to try new recipes. Find some new ones that you fall in love with and they become part of your menu. Just like with a cooked diet or cooked omnivore diet or whatever, if you want to get new ideas, you got to try new recipes. So that's how I do it. I also like to get really creative in the kitchen. That's why I make a lot of fun raw recipes because I really enjoy getting creative. So get creative and try new recipes. How do you stay raw when traveling or on vacation? Plan and prepare. Plan and prepare. These are the top 2 ways that you can stay raw in any situation if you plan and you prepare. When you plan, you write down what you plan to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and how are you going to make that a reality? How are you going to make that happen in your life, on your vacation, on your road trip, or whatever it is? What do you need to do to make that a reality? Now, it's nice to have a plan because then you just follow the plan. But if you're on vacation and something comes up and there's a raw restaurant that you want to go to for lunch or what have you, it's nice to be able to change the plan. At least you have a plan. A lot of people just go on vacation. They're like, I'm just going to eat whatever I can find, and then that causes a lot of options that you may not want to be really eating that don't resonate with you anymore. So to be successful while traveling or on vacation, you have to plan and you have to prepare. Some things that help us a lot is the wraps, the raw vegan wraps. If you don't have the hand salads wrap ebook, you can send me a DM and I can send you a link to our ebook store. It's not in the bundle because the bundle is only brand new stuff, and the wrap book we released in 2023. So the bundle is only brand new stuff, including my brand new sushi ebook, Nate's brand new cracker ebook, the brand new Make It Raw 4 that I wrote with Chef AJ. You get all of that plus the new content from other raw vegans for $50. Just click the link in my bio or in the description box below to get that. Question 4. Do you eat fermented foods? Yes, I do, and I love fermented foods. We actually make some of our fermented foods ourselves, and in the sushi ebook, we do have recipes for some fermented items as well, like the sushi ginger. You can make living, raw, vegan sushi ginger, and it's so good. It's the best sushi ginger that I've ever had. The spicy mustard kimchi. There's also a more mild Napa cabbage kimchi in there. The oshinko, which is like a marinated radish that goes in one of the sushi rolls. So there's some options in the sushi ebook for ferments, but yes, I eat fermented foods and I think they are incredible for the gut microbiome. Super important to eat more fermented foods for the gut microbiome and enjoy more of those to build it up and go slow. If you are going to start adding more fermented foods into your diet, go slow. Start with a small amount, like we're talking like a teaspoon, and work up to more instead of, starting with half a cup. You don't even need to work up to half a cup. You just need a couple tablespoons to get the benefits from them. Number 5, how do you handle restaurant meals when nothing on the menu is raw? Woo, that's a good one. There's always going to be something raw for the most part. Most places are going to have something raw on there, whether it's guacamole or salsa or even a side salad. Usually what I do is look at the menu before going. And most places that we go to is usually planned. Most people plan to go to a specific place. Call ahead and see if they can accommodate you. If not, eat before. That way, when you get there, if they only have like a small salad or whatever resonates with you, then you can order that. And we also, in advance, we will take dressings to restaurants as well, so we can order a big plate of veggies. So most places have salads on the menu. You can get just a plain salad and then we pour our own dressing on it. But again, you need to think of that in advance. If you're out on the road and you just stop at a random restaurant, then it can be a little challenging. So we prefer to stop at a grocery store so we can get food that way. But again, it depends on the circumstance. We always say, be prepared, look into the restaurant before you go, and bring your own options in if you can. Again, dressing is nice to take as well. Number 6, what's the easiest way to sprout seeds and legumes at home? So get a jar with a mesh lid, and you put about 2 tablespoons worth of seeds in the bottom of the jar, fill with water, let it soak overnight. The next day, you rinse and drain and you tilt it upside down, maybe on a 45-degree angle so the water can drip out. And you do that 2 to 3 times a day for 2 to 3 or 4 or 5 days until they have long tails. Or if in the case of lentils, we prefer just like 1 day of that so they have little tiny tails and then they're ready to eat. So they're super easy to make. We recommend getting sproutable seeds because those seeds have been tested for pathogens and they're safer to sprout at home. So the sprouting company has some amazing options. If you need the link, send me a DM and ask for the sprouting company link and I'll get that to you. Number 7, how do you keep your produce fresh for a week? That's a great question. We usually we shop about 2, maybe 3 times a week. It really depends on what we need or what we forgot, or if we're trying a new recipe and we don't have ingredients, then we'll go out. But usually we shop twice a week, sometimes 3. The main shop, we shop and we get whatever we can. And when we get home, we eat things that need to be eaten first. And some stuff like cabbages, kale, that kind of thing, they can last a little bit longer in the fridge. But we like to shop twice a week. It's so much better and so much fresher. It's not like a cooked food diet where you're buying bulk of like rice or grains or beans that you can cook and stuff that lasts for a long time. You're buying fresh. So when you are on a raw diet, you have to kind of go a little bit more often if you want fresh food. Again, keeping things for a week in the fridge, like a bell pepper for a week, I mean, it's not as ideal because it's not as fresh. They're going to start to wilt. You can use green bags or green boxes, like Debbie Meyer's green bags and boxes, that can help keep them a little bit fresher. Rotating through your produce, making sure that you eat what needs to be eaten first. You know, if it's starting to get a little wilty, then eat it right away. And just kind of play around with what you have and eating what needs to be eaten first. But again, we don't really shop once a week. It's more like twice a week, just so we have more fresh food. 8, how do you satisfy a sweet tooth without baked goods, candy, or refined sugar? That's a great question. We use fruit. Fruit is the simplest and easiest way to get sweetness into your life. So if you're craving some kind of like sweetness, just eat some fruit. Cut up a mango, have an orange, eat some bananas, have some dates on a celery stick, whatever, have some fruit. And one thing that many of you who are fans of black licorice candy are really gonna like the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle, which you can get via the link in my bio or in the description box below, because inside one of the ebooks, it's called Make It Raw 4, that I wrote with Chef AJ, it's brand new. One of her recipes is for black licorice candy, and it tastes exactly like black licorice, and it's chewy like black licorice. It's amazing. It would be a really great option for people because there's only 3 ingredients, mainly dates. So it's a fun one to make as well. Grab the bundle so you can get that recipe. It's in Make It Raw Volume 4, and it's Chef AJ's recipe. It tastes exactly like black licorice. So that's a fun one. But yeah, sweets, just eat fruit. It's the simplest way to enjoy. On a side note, most times when people are craving kind of like the baked goods or what have you, usually they're craving the combination of fat and sugar, because a lot of baked goods are high in fat, and that can cause insulin resistance. And it also gives you a really big dopamine hit too. So, you know, you're more gravitated towards those foods, but they're not a good combination for insulin sensitivity. So just stick with fruit. That's the best one. Number 9, what are your favorite raw sources of iron and how do you boost absorption? That's a great question. So my top favorite source of iron is sunflower microgreens. If you can learn how to grow those, add sunflower microgreens to your salads. 1 cup, which is about an ounce chopped, has 6 milligrams of iron in it. And men need about 8 milligrams a day. Women menstruating need about 18 milligrams of iron a day. So 1 cup has 6. That's so amazing. All the other greens are going to have some levels of iron in them. Vegetables are great sources. Sprouts do have some as well. So sticking with those and having more of those along with your fruit. Obviously fruit is super important, but also your greens. Sunflower microgreens are one of the best, and combining them for better absorption, combining them with high vitamin C options like bell peppers, orange, like citrus, you can add in your dressing when you are consuming higher iron greens options. So that is a quick answer to that one. Number 10, how do you manage low blood sugar or energy crashes on a raw diet? Good question. Because on a raw diet, we're eating a fair amount of fruit, and the key is to keep your fat low. That's the key. Sugar crashes happen when people typically are eating a high fat diet. So the fat blocks the insulin from being able to get the sugar from the blood into the cell. So if your cell isn't getting adequate sugar because fat's in the way, then you're going to feel sluggish and tired after eating a big fruit smoothie. You're not able to get the sugar from your bloodstream into your cell because of the high fat that you may have been eating over the previous up to 3 days. Up to 3 days. It's up to 72 hours, depending on the fat source and depending on how much you ate, can interfere with insulin for up to 3 days. So it's not the fruit that's the problem, it's the fat that you've eaten in the previous days and the amount and the types. Animal fats and oils are the worst for this, especially saturated fat from animal products. So stick to whole fat sources like whole nuts, whole seeds, avocado, young coconut in appropriate amounts in the diet, and then your insulin will work a lot better and you'll be able to actually use the sugar that you are eating. So that's how I do that. Hootie in the chat is saying, thank you for sharing this important info. You are super welcome. I am glad to share. We still have tons of questions to go to, so I hope that you have some more aha moments as well. Okay, next up, how do you incorporate variety when farmers market is limited by season? That's a good question, because not every season has the variety that we would want, and that's okay. Every season is going to have their highlights and showcased different fruits and vegetables. So my suggestion is to do the best you can, and to also go to different stores, because you never know what is going to be in different stores. You might be able to find more variety in different places. Like we find way more variety at the international markets, like the Asian markets, the Mexican market. There's a lot different variety in those places as opposed to the general grocery store. So if you have different stores in your area, ethnic stores, or again, international stores, go to those and see what you can find. Usually they have way better prices and more variety. So that's an option too, because the farmers market doesn't always have everything that we want, but they do have some pretty cool varieties, especially seasonal things. So it's nice to have a bunch of different places to go to get a bunch of different things. Hootie says, I'm absolutely thrilled with the cookbook. I'm so glad that you enjoy the brand new sushi ebook, which just released on May 1st in the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. It's the only place that you can get the sushi book right now. Once the bundle is over, it'll go in my ebook store, but the bundle is the best place to get it, because you're not only getting my brand new sushi ebook, you're getting the brand new Make It Raw 4, Nate's new cracker book, and all the other content from other raw vegans. And it's all raw, and it's all yours for $50, valued at almost $1,400. Question 12, what do you do when you just aren't feeling like making something? So when I just don't feel like it, the number one thing I do is just eat fruit, because we need the fuel. We can't go long hours, because then we're going to feel even less like it later, because we've just continued on without fueling our body. So the number one thing I do is just eat fruit. Sometimes I'll just go in the kitchen and eat a couple bananas. Sometimes I'll grab a box of cherry tomatoes and just snack on those. It's easy to just grab fruit, so easy. Maybe chop it up, takes maybe 30 seconds to do that. But that's the easiest thing to do. The second thing that I like to do is just go in the kitchen. Sometimes I feel really overwhelmed, and we're going to talk about this on the last question, but if you're feeling overwhelmed and you just don't want to do, just go in the kitchen and open the fridge. That's it. Then from there, you grab the lettuce, and then from there, you chop it. And then from there, you just do one step at a time, and eventually a salad becomes a salad, and you're like, oh, I'm so glad that I actually did it. So, sometimes it's moving from one situation to the next. Like if you're working, you're in that workflow, and you don't necessarily want to just get up and go and make something, because it breaks that flow. But once you get up and go and make something, then you're in that flow, and then it feels good. So it's that transition. And sometimes all you need is one small step to get from this space to this space. And usually that's just go in the kitchen. That's the only thing that you have to think about. Go in the kitchen. And once you're there, then it starts to flow a little bit easier. So Cassie is asking, do you eat hummus? So we do raw vegan hummus. Oil-free. So we will use a little bit of tahini, but not usually the amounts that are in classic hummus. And we do not use oil, because oil, again, interferes with insulin, and we want to keep our insulin sensitive. So we don't eat classic hummus. Plus the chickpeas in classic hummus are cooked, and we are raw vegans, so we don't eat cooked chickpeas. So what we do is we sprout the chickpeas first, and that takes 48 hours of soaking, plus 24 hours of rinse and drain. Then we freeze them, then we thaw them. So once you freeze them, they get softer when you thaw them, so they're a little bit more enjoyable. The hummus doesn't taste the same because it's much fresher, but we use those thawed from frozen sprouted chickpeas as the base of our hummus, and we add other things to it. Like I said, a little tahini, some garlic, some onion, some lemon juice, that kind of thing, like, the classic ingredients minus the oil and less tahini, so it's lower fat. But Nate has hummus recipes in his cracker book, link in the bio for the bundle, where you can get his brand new ebook called Crack, Spread, Repeat. So he's got some hummus like spreads in there and other things that you could dip veggies in, like cucumber rounds or celery sticks or carrots or whatever. So he's got some really fun ones in there. Actually, tomorrow he's going to be making a pea guacamole. And he also has one of the ones I like a lot is the smoky chorizo dip, which is kind of like a spread, like a hummus. He also has like a chickpea salad. It's kind of like an egg salad. That's one of my favorites as well. But yes, in the bundle, you get that ebook. Hootie says, should I try hard to focus on less fat or just relax and eat raw? I'm pretty new to raw and trying to heal candida nail fungus. So it's very important to focus on low fat. Learn what low fat looks like use Chronometer for a little bit and learn what low fat looks like. It's usually around 25 grams of fat for the entire day. And that's including what you're getting in your fresh fruits and veggies, because fresh fruits and veggies have small amount of fats as well. So to relax, if you want to relax with it, if you're eating a 2,400 calorie a day diet, that's roughly 1 shot glass worth of nuts or seeds, or half of a small avocado, one or the other, not both. And that is the fat reserve for the day. Plus, you could also add a tablespoon of chia for omega-3s. That's not going to change your fat percentage too much. But that's all you need. You don't need a lot of fats, especially if you're dealing with candida issues. Lower that fat down. So yes, I would focus more on learning what low fat looks like and increasing your fruits and veggies. I snack on bits of random berries or veggies while I find something and prep smoothie. That's awesome. Yes, snacking on grapes or berries are really good too. So yeah, just snack on fruit, get some veggies, chop them up, and enjoy that. Okay, so next up we have question 13. How do you know if you're getting enough omega-3? That's a great question. My answer to this is to do an omega-3 test. Now there's a company called Omega Quant, and they have an at-home omega-3 test where you use the little thing, you prick your finger and you drop the blood on a little piece of paper, and you just ship that off to them and they test your blood to see your omega-3 intake. So if you want to know, you can do a test. Next question, how do you convince skeptical friends or family to try raw dishes? Oh, that's a good question. It's been a long time since I've had to do that. But what I would recommend is don't even tell them that it's raw or vegan. Just make it for them and see what they think. If they like it, yay! You don't have to go into details about all the ingredients or whatever. Just make it for them. Just make it for them and see what they think. Holly is asking, for your wraps, what do you use as a binder since flax and chia have more fat? Actually, flax and chia are more high in fiber than they are necessarily in fat. And we do use flax or chia in our wraps, but it's 2 tablespoons for 2 wraps, which makes 4 meals. So you're really not getting a lot of fat in them. And we do use psyllium husk because psyllium is an incredible gut microbiome food. It's a prebiotic and it helps your body to feed those bacteria, and they produce butyrate and other short chain fatty acids, which are so incredibly beneficial. So you're not getting a lot of fat in the wraps. It's really, really low fat. So yeah. Hootie says, I have my husband one of the wraps, or gave yesterday, and he was super impressed. Thank you for joining. And thank you for sharing that. Yeah, a lot of people really enjoy the wraps no matter what diet they're on. It's a great way of getting more fiber and more omega-3s and more fresh produce that's been dried, obviously, but in our diets. So they're really fun. But just make it for them. See how they like it. Don't tell them what it is. Just make it for them. Number 15, what are your favorite fermented foods, and do you use pickled foods? So my favorite ferments are sushi ginger, which you can get the recipe in the sushi book, kimchi, which we can get the recipe in the sushi book, sauerkraut, which is really easy to make. I love sauerkraut, different flavors of sauerkrauts, and miso paste. Miso paste is a fermented food, which I love. We use miso pretty much every single day. And for pickled foods, we don't eat pickled foods because pickled foods are usually cooked first, they're heated, and they also use vinegar. They're basically what you would refer to as fake ferments. They're not real ferments, and they're not gut-friendly foods because the vinegar that they put in is usually just plain white vinegar, and it mimics the flavor of ferments, but it is not a true ferment, and the vinegar actually kills some of your bacteria. So that's why they use vinegar to preserve it, and usually those are on the shelf, or they can stay storage forever because they've been heated, and the vinegar is antibacterial. So we don't do pickled foods, we just do fermented foods. Next question, number 16, how are you supporting yourself through perimenopause? Great question. So I'm going to probably dive into this a lot deeper on my YouTube channel in the future. But right now, what I'm doing is I'm taking raw maca powder. You can get raw vegan maca powder, which is basically just dried maca. It's a root vegetable. And this is helpful to supporting our hormones. And I'm also making sure to work on my sleep, which is very important. And also, one of the most important things is to keep our bone density up and our muscle strength. So walking with weights, like a weighted vest or a backpack when you go for a walk, to give that extra weight to your body to build stronger bone density is really important. Making sure that I get enough minerals in my diet is very important as well. So those are just a few things that I'm doing right now to support myself through perimenopause. And that's happening. So I'm 45. So the average woman goes through menopause at 51, and perimenopause is usually about 10 years before actual menopause happens. So I'm pretty sure I'm definitely in perimenopause at some point. But I want to support myself through it. So those are just a few things that I'm doing, but I will go into more detail in the future. Next up, question 17, which kitchen tools have to have an essential for a raw vegan lifestyle? So you technically don't need anything for a raw lifestyle except a knife and a cutting board, because you can chop salads, you can chop fruit. It's pretty easy. But I would say the have to have is a blender. To blend smoothies, to blend dressings, to blend raw soups, to blend pretty much anything, a blender is a great tool. So if you were only gonna buy one thing for a raw diet, I would recommend a blender, specifically a vacuum blender, because with a vacuum blender, you are blending things under vacuum. So you're not blending a whole bunch of air into what you're blending. So there's less oxidation that happens. So everything tastes better, it looks better, the texture is better, and you're getting more nutrition because there's less oxidation happening. So I would say that's a have to have tool, but then bonus tools would be things like a spiralizer to spiralize your zucchini or cucumbers, a dehydrator so that you can dehydrate things, mandolin, maybe a food processor is kind of nice to have, a citrus juicer might be nice to have. We don't have a juicer, but we do juice citrus sometimes for our smoothies. But yeah, I would say definitely a have to have would be the blender for sure. Number 18, how do you maintain raw habits during busy holiday seasons? Again, same thing with the vacation question, plan and prepare. If you plan and you prepare, then it's pretty easy. You know what you're gonna have, you know what you're gonna make, you know all this stuff, and you just follow your plan through that. And also go over your why. Why do you wanna do this? Why is it important to you? So follow those, and that can help you through. And find some fun new recipes that you can make for whatever holiday that is for you. And try out some fun raw versions of what you love for those holidays. That can really help too. What raw meals do you serve at summer barbecues or picnics? So this is a great question. We like to take our raw burgers to barbecues or to share with friends and family. We also love taking our wraps, making extra wraps for other people. That's a fun one to do. And also sushi is really fun. We've taken sushi multiple times to events, backyard barbecues or whatever. We always take extra, Make sure that you have enough for your portion and enough for everyone else to eat. So make sure that you do that, because one time we took a sushi plate, we thought we had enough, but everybody ate all the sushi and they're like, this is amazing. And we come back and there was like 5 pieces and we're like, oh, we're not gonna have a lot to eat. So always make sure that you bring double, because other people are gonna wanna have some too. Question 20, do you use collagen supplements? So I do not take any collagen supplements. The thing with collagen supplements is it's a big marketing scam, because collagen, eating collagen does not equal collagen in your body. What happens in your body is you eat this collagen, and collagen is an amino acid chain. So what happens is your body breaks it apart into all these little amino acids that are the building blocks of protein, and collagen is a protein. So it takes all of these little pieces, kind of like breaking apart a Lego piece thing that you made, right? You get it and you break it apart into all these little pieces, and all these pieces go into the amino acid pool, which is a pool of amino acids, and the body will take what it needs from this pool to build whatever it needs to build. And you don't always build collagen from that amino acid pool. Sometimes you need to do other things like building muscle, or you're building this, or you're building cells or enzymes or hormones or whatever you're building. So the body's going to take what it needs for what it needs to do. So taking a collagen supplement does not equal collagen. It doesn't filter right to your skin. It doesn't do that. That's not how it works. The body will build collagen if all of the other things are in place. So we want to make sure that we eat a wide variety of foods, get a lot of those Lego pieces to build whatever we want to build in our body, and our body's going to decide that. Taking a collagen supplement doesn't make it so your body makes collagen from it. It's just going to break it apart and make whatever it feels like it's going to make that day or whatever. So we don't take collagen supplements. However, we do focus on eating a wide variety of fiber, because there is a recent study that showed that vegans have a higher level of glycine, which is essential for building collagen in the body, because they don't eat animal products, which grow a specific bacteria that eats glycine. So by having less of that bacteria, you get to use more of your glycine. So it's beneficial to lower those animal products or get them out of your diet. If you're looking for better collagen, eating lots of fresh plant foods is ideal. But also Irish moss, Irish sea moss, you can soak it and then blend it into a gel and add that to your smoothies or your dressings. It's a great way to give that silkiness texture to your smoothies and dressings, but also it gives your body everything that it needs to make collagen. Again, it's not going to make collagen directly, but you're going to give your body everything that it needs. And Mama, hello, so good to see you. She's asking, does red light therapy increase collagen? Yes, it does. It stimulates the body to make collagen. So if you are consuming, say, Irish moss gel, you're having like lots of nutrition and you've got a good amino acid pool, then the red light is going to stimulate your body to produce more collagen. So that's a really great thing to add to a healthy life. I love red light therapy. It's so awesome in so many ways. Very regenerative. Okay, question number 21. How do you navigate social gatherings where no one else eats raw? So I just do what I want to do. I just eat raw because that's what I do. And I don't worry about whatever everyone else is doing or eating. I just go and enjoy whatever raw food I take, and I don't worry about anyone else, what they're eating. I am doing this for me, for my body. So I choose raw in any social situation. And if people have a problem with that, that's not my fault. I'm choosing what works best for me, and it happens to be raw food, so that's what I do. Heather says, sea moss, yes, just starting on it. Awesome. And my mom says, okay, totally need to start that. Yeah, red light therapy is so awesome. One thing that I noticed when I was in Canada, I used to have a lot of discolored skin from the acne. So when my skin would heal, the acne would heal like really dark. And you know, it looked like I had a dirty face, and no matter how much I scrubbed, it would just look dark and kind of spider webby because just of the way the acne healed. I was doing red light therapy nearly every single day. I would say 5 to 7 days a week. I would do red light therapy in a full bed, like I would lay in the bed, and those went away. So it really evened out my skin tone, and it was absolutely amazing. So definitely recommend that. Question 22, how do I adapt raw recipes for kids and picky eaters? Woo, that's a tough one. For that, I would recommend starting with what works for them. So if they already like carrots, that's great. Put carrots on the plate with maybe a couple pieces of something that they're not really into. Just have them there as options for them to try. Get them to try more things. My mom, I'm 67 and starting to get wrinkles. Yes, you have amazing skin, but yes, the red light therapy is so good. and making sure that, we keep our skin hydrated from the inside out as well is so important. But yeah, for picky eaters, if you're trying to get your kids to eat more vegetables, one thing that I've seen that works for a lot of moms is in the afternoon to chop up a variety of different veggies or fruits or what have you. Don't say anything and just put the plate out where they're playing or where they're working or whatever. Just put it out, right? And you'll be surprised when they start eating because it's there. It's just there, and you didn't tell them to eat or anything at all. Just put it out and see what they do. You might be surprised at how much they eat from the plate. So that's an option as well. And again, start with what they love. If they love tomatoes, give them tomatoes, and then, try getting them to have a few other things. There is some kid-friendly stuff in this bundle, so you're going to want to go check it out. Link is in the bio or in the description box below. What food storage as a raw vegan for emergencies? Oh, what about food storage as a raw vegan for emergencies? So what we do is number one is to make sure you have enough water. That's going to be top, because you're going to need water for the raw food that you have stored, which would be mainly sprouts. So you can have we have a 5-pound bucket of peas that we can sprout. We have lots of sprouting seeds stored. So if anything were to happen, as long as we have enough water, then we can just sprout and have lots of sprouts, and that's all raw. So very, very, very nourishing. And also freeze-dried food. So freeze-drying is one of the best raw food emergency or food storage things that you can do. If you are able to invest in a freeze dryer, this is the best because freeze-drying food retains up to 97% of the nutrition, and if stored properly, can store for up to 25 years. And it's still raw and delicious when you rehydrate it with water. So having some freeze-dried meals, freeze-dried food, and the seeds are the best ones. Wendy says, no problems with any kids here. Raw Vegan Mama has kids' chef book in the bundle. Yes, Kate has her little chef's book in the bundles with some great recipes in there. Yes, I like this emergency prep question. Yes, I know it's something that you want to think about, but water is going to be top, then sprouting seeds, a wide variety of sprouting seeds, and then freeze-dried food. Those are going to be your best options, and then obviously get fresh whenever you possibly can. Wendy says the red light therapy, does it have to have special frequencies? The one that I have has different colors. I don't think that it has necessarily the frequencies. I haven't really dived too much into that. But the mask that I have has a bunch of different colors. So there's red for collagen boosting and regeneration and anti-aging. They have yellow. I think that one is for inflammation. Either yellow or green are for inflammation. Blue is for acne prone skin, and purple is a mix of blue for acne prone and red for the regeneration. So those are the ones I have, and it might be interesting to look into the frequency thing about that. I will have to dive into that. Question 24, we've got 50, so let's go through. 24, what about when you chop food, doesn't it lose nutrition, oxidation? So for that, as soon as you chop something, you expose it to the air, which is going to cause some oxidation. And it's not like, some people think if they chop it, all of a sudden all the nutrition is lost. That's not the case. The longer it sits exposed to the air, obviously more nutrition is going to dissipate, but it's not all, and it's never 100%. It's a small percentage. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. If you need to chop the night before so that you can successfully have a raw salad the next day, don't worry about the slight percentage of nutrient loss. I would rather see somebody eat a huge raw salad that they prepped in advance to make it possible than to worry so much about any little slight nutrition that disappears from cutting. Mama asks which mask to buy. There are so many on the market, and the one that I got was fairly expensive. I saved up for like 2 years to get that mask. I think it was like $4,200. It's from Korea, and it's probably the top one on the market from my research. It has the most LED lights of any of the masks that I researched, but there are so many other more inexpensive ones. I think Dr. Dennis Gross has one for like $300. There are some other ones on there, but I can send you a link to, if you want, just send me a DM so I remember to send you a link of like kind of like a list of some of the top masks. I bought the top one because I wanted that one. But yeah, so yeah, send me a DM and I can send you that. So you can decide for yourself which one you want. Question 24, what about, okay, 24 we did already. 25, what's your strategy for staying raw on a tight grocery budget? That one, you're gonna need to do the best you can. And again, for those who want the links, send me a direct message because I'm gonna forget. So please, Wendy and my mom and anyone else, send me a DM and just say, hey, can you send me the links? Just so I remember because I'm gonna forget. So tight grocery budget. I would say don't stress about being 100% raw if it's not within your budget or if you are having troubles. Shop seasonally, buy in bulk. You can share with other people. Like sometimes buying a case of bananas, you save 10 or 20%. You can split it with family members or friends or what have you. There's ways that you can do that. Shopping at wholesale markets, if there is a wholesale market in your area, that can be a useful place as well for tight budgets. And also going to farmers markets in the last like half hour. You might not get the freshest stuff that was picked early in the morning, but sometimes you can get some super special deals if you go in that last half hour when everyone's kind of packing up. Sometimes you can make deals with the farmers and be like, hey, I'll take that case of whatever. Do you have a deal on it? And sometimes they'll give you a pretty good deal. We've gotten pounds and pounds and pounds of free tomatoes that we were willing to pay for, but the farmer was like, you just take it because they're just going to go in the garbage anyway. And I was like, what? In the compost. But yeah, he gave us all the tomatoes for free because we were there in the last 30 minutes and he was packing up and he was like, I'm good. You can just take them. I'm like, okay. So yeah, those are some tips. Question 26. If you have decision fatigue, which is a real thing, what do you make when you just don't know what to make? That's a great question. Sometimes decision fatigue happens to most of us because we make so many decisions every day. Sometimes you think, what can I have for dinner? And you're just going to default to what's easiest. And usually that's not something that's very supportive to our bodies. So in order to deal with that, with decision fatigue, you are going to want to have your fallback 5. This is 5 recipes that you know and love and that you are excited to make, and you can make those anytime. That's going to be really helpful to start building your fallback 5. What are some of those recipes that you can make right away that you know you have the ingredients on hand? Like for me, it would be the French dressing. That's one thing that we always have the ingredients on hand to make the French dressing. And I just chop up a salad and make that really super easy. So if I don't want to think about what to make, I just make what I'm used to. So can you come over here? You're blocking my light. It was standing in my light. You want to come say hi to the people? Nate's going to be live in about 15 minutes. Okay.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
It's good to see you all.
It's good to see you. Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
It's fine. Yeah.
Sure?
Nate's going to be making crackers live. So in 15 minutes on his Instagram. So you're going to want to go to that one. Okay. I'm going to really quickly burn through these rest of the questions. So question 27, how do you make it so your koodles or zoodles aren't watery? Unfortunately, they're going to be watery. That's just how it is. But some tips that I have is once you spiralize, you can squeeze out some of the water. And you can also use a thicker sauce. That really helps because then any water that is coming from the zoodles mixes with the sauce and then it's still decent. So you're definitely gonna have water regardless, but a thicker sauce really helps with that. 28, I'm new to this whole raw vegan thing. What do I start with? Whew! If you're new to raw, then you're gonna want to first go vegan. Go vegan first. And then from there, work on getting good at breakfast. Work on getting good at your smoothie and lowering your fat. Start there. Then once you get good at a low-fat vegan diet with one raw smoothie in the morning, then start working on lunch. So do your raw smoothie, do your lunch, stay low-fat. And once you get good at those, then you can work on dinner. So go slow if you're new to it. That's all good. Eden says, y'all are so busy and I appreciate the lives and info. Thank you. And my mom says, hi, Nate.
Hey, Laura.
Yeah, he says hi. And how are you? Okay, 29. Do we need less sleep on a raw diet? This is a myth. You do not need less sleep on a raw diet. You need 7.5 to 9 hours because sleep does things that diet will never do, and we need to have adequate sleep on any diet in order for our brains to detox properly. We have something in our brains called the glymphatic system, and to clean that and also to get rid of the adenosine, we need to sleep 7.5 to 9 hours a night. It's super important. Again, regardless of the diet that you're on, raw doesn't magically make it so that you don't need sleep. Usually people who sleep less on a raw diet are not eating enough. If you're not eating enough, your body is going to stay awake or wake up often throughout the night because it's looking for food. So we want to make sure that we eat enough. That's super, super important. And you need 9, and that's good. 9 is great. 9 is healthy. So good. And my mom says she wants to come visit us, and you should. We have your bed ready. Question 30. How do you troubleshoot persistent digestive issues on a raw diet? So my suggestion for this is to go slow. If you have digestive issues, go slow with raw. Work with where you're at and slowly increase the raw that you're eating so that you can build your microbiome so that you can eat more fiber. Question 31, do you eat raw cheesecakes or higher fat raw desserts? Very rarely. This isn't something that we eat a lot of. We have had a few in the past, but it's not something that we do regularly. I don't even remember the last time I had a raw cheesecake was probably like 5 years ago or 6 years ago in Canada. It's been a long time, so it's not something that we do a lot. We'd rather have nice cream made from bananas and fruit. Question 32. What are your favorite sushi recipes from the new ebook? Oh, from the new ebook. There's too many. I have way too many favorites. The okonomiyaki pancakes, the gyoza dumplings made with nori. What else? Oh my gosh. The katsu, the marinated lion's mane. Oh my gosh, there's so much. There's so many things that I love about the sushi ebook, and you get it when you buy the bundle. Link is in my bio or in the description box below. To enjoy the sushi book, there's 160 recipes in there, so it's really hard to pick my favorites. Question 33, what kind of water do you drink? We drink reverse osmosis. That's the one that we choose. Question 34, what kind of foods work best for the freeze thaw method? So anything harder is good. So carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, onions, sprouted chickpeas, sprouted lentils, any of those harder veggies are going to work really well for the freeze thaw method. And that is, again, the method that we learned from Chris Kendall. And Dr. Rick likes to call it kendallizing the veggies. So we kendallize them by freezing them and then thawing them. So it's a raw food technique to soften the veggies so they're more like al dente steamed, but they're still raw. Question 35, what about lycopene? You have to cook tomatoes to get it, don't you? That means we need cooked foods in our diets. Actually, we don't. If you're eating a wide variety of raw foods, we don't need cooked foods in our diets. You could eat them if you want to, but they're not essential. The thing is with the lycopene, number one, lycopene is non-essential. It's not critical to life. It's an antioxidant. And so we do absorb it raw. So it's not like you don't get any if you eat raw tomatoes. But 2 types of tomatoes actually have higher bioavailability of lycopene than cooked tomatoes, and that would be tomato powder and sun-dried tomatoes. These have higher bioavailability of lycopene, so if you're worried about the lycopene thing, just do tomato powder and sun-dried tomatoes, and they're both raw, so you don't need to cook your tomatoes. Blink of an Eye says, I wish you guys would open a restaurant, but hard to build up a steady stream of customers. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, we've talked about this multiple times. We're just not into the restaurant industry simply because, number one, it's hard to have a restaurant in general. And number two, raw food restaurants, there's just not the demand for it, even though all of you would love it. But also, it's Las Vegas. It's just not the place for it. And it would be very, 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 very expensive to build. So we prefer to teach and empower you to make more raw food in your life. Question 36, how do you manage cravings for comfort foods in cold weather? So we like to do things like use the dehydrator or the blender, because if you blend soup base, for example, on high speed, it'll warm up. So we have raw soups, we like dehydrator stuff, and obviously making sure you eat enough, because if you don't eat enough, then you're going to feel cold, you're going to need that comfort more often. But you could totally do teas if you wanted. Just use warm water instead of boiling water if you want to stay raw. But yeah, we do like the comfort foods as are like dehydrated or raw soups and stuff. Question 37, how do you maintain a raw diet while training for athletic event? Eat more calories. Eat more calories. Get more food in you. Eat earlier in the day, eat more often, and get those calories in. That's going to be really helpful. And again, stick with variety as well. Question 38, what raw vegan options do you use for gut healing and detox support? High fiber and cruciferous. Cruciferous veggies are amazing for detox support because they help support phase 2 liver detox, which is essential to lowering your detox symptoms. We don't want detox symptoms. We want to support our detox so we don't feel it. So cruciferous shine in that because they're high in fiber and high in nutrients we need to make glutathione. Question 39, how do you keep choosing raw vegan when you're under stress or illness? Woo! That would be, again, planning and preparing when you are under stress to make sure that you have food, fruit, default to fruit, make things that are easy like smoothies or raw soups or something like that, especially if you maybe had like dental surgery or whatever. If you're feeling sick and you're recovering from an illness, just stick with like smoothies and raw soups. And poor connection. Am I back? I hope I'm back. So yeah, raw soups and smoothies are going to be the best ones. Question 40, we got 10 more. We're going to try and get it done before 4 o'clock because Nate is going live in the kitchen making crackers. You're going to want to follow him at Raw Natty Nate, Raw Natty N8. So go follow him and watch his. Question 40, how do I get my family to stop asking me if I want cooked food? You just got to keep eating the raw food. You got to train them, and so to speak, that you're always going to say no. And eventually, the more often you say no, the more they're going to learn that you're going to say no. So that would be my suggestion. It's a hard one because, they want you to have that, but shower them with love and just say, I'm good with my raw food. Thank you. And then redirect and ask them about their life so they can talk about them. It's so much easier that way. Question 41, what are your fave tropical fruits? Mango, pineapple, especially the sugarloaf pineapple from Hawaii, soursop, and egg fruit. Those would be my top ones off the top of my head. I'm sure there's other like jackfruit I really like too and all that. 42, do you need a dehydrator to make the sushi? No, you don't. You can roll sushi without a dehydrator. You just need a blender so you can wet chop and a knife so you can cut the fillings. You do need a dehydrator for specific sauces and specific fillings, but if you don't have a dehydrator, just skip those ones and use whatever. There are sauces that are hand mixed, there's sauces that are blended, and there's also sauces that are dehydrated. But there's, a variety of different things that you can choose based on what you like. Blink of an Eye says, I like to say I prefer the taste of raw foods. Yeah, you could say that too. That's a great one to say. Or you could always just say also, I'm just trying to eat healthier, that's a good one as well. Next up, what type of nori do you use for raw sushi? So we use a raw, vegan, untoasted nori. And if you want the link to the ones that we use, send me a direct message and I will get you the link to the one we use on Amazon. We buy 100 at a time because it's less money and we have a lot so that we can enjoy. So there's that. Untoasted. So you're going to use untoasted or unroasted or whatever it is for raw sushi. Question 44, what's your favorite raw strategy for layering flavors and textures? My favorite strategy is to always think of the 5 tastes: sweet, sour, bitter, salty, and umami. So sweet, we all know what we can use. Fruit is easy, that's easy. Sour, we can use apple cider vinegar or lemon juice or citrus. You could even use cranberry or berries for this one as well. Or even sauerkraut. You could use sauerkraut juice, something that's zingy you want to add. The bitter, that would be, I would also call that aromatic when you're building like dressings or flavor. That would be like garlic, onion, anything bitter, like that's gonna work really well. Salty, so we don't add salt to our meals. We do, however, use fermented foods like miso or coconut aminos or namashoyu, which is an unpasteurized raw soy sauce. But I would avoid that if you have celiac disease, just because they still use wheat in the process of the fermentation for that. So stick with coconut aminos, and then we use miso paste. That gives it that saltiness, but also gives it the umami. And the umami is kind of like that full-bodied flavor that we crave. I know, yeah, it's so good. Umami is a Japanese word that describes this flavor that we tend to want in mushrooms, tomatoes, nutritional yeast, soy sauces, miso, and fermented foods all have an umami to them. Again, if you're looking for some umami, get the bundle because you get the new sushi ebook. So that's what I do when layering flavors. I make sure to hit all 5 of those tastes because then you have like a full experience with all the flavors. 45, how long does it take to notice results? That's going to be 100% personal. I cannot tell you how long it'll take to notice results. Some people start noticing things right away. Other people, it takes months to years. So it really depends on what's going on with you, what your diet was like before, how much you're eating, if you're under eating, if you're not eating enough or whatever it is. There's going to be so many factors that come into play. So it's more about being consistent and just doing supportive things every day for your body and then seeing where that goes. Next up, question 46, what are some of your favorite herbs and spices? Woo! I love this question. And I actually wrote down the answers so that I remembered. But some of my top favorite, I love herbs and spices, all of them. I love them all. And I am a huge spice fan. In fact, you're hearing it here first. Shh. Next year's bundle is going to be focused on spices. My bundle contribution for next year. So yeah, it's gonna be so good. So anyway, smoked paprika, onion powder, tomato powder, wasabi, any hot chili, dill, mustard, kalanamak, and miso. Those are some of my absolute favorite. But again, I love them all. I love rosemary and garlic. I just put garlic on there. But I love them all so much. So yeah, those are just some off the top of my head that I thought of. Will you ever eat cooked food? I don't care for it, so I don't know. I probably won't. 48, how do you know if I'm eating enough variety, or how do I know I'm eating enough variety? Start by counting the different types of foods that you're eating, and if you can hit 30 in a week, then you're eating a decent amount of variety. Aim for more. So get a list, a piece of paper, and start writing down all the different types of fresh fruits and veggies that you eat in a week. And this could include herbs and spices. It can include different, obviously if you're doing like red bell pepper and orange bell pepper, that still counts as one variety because it's just bell pepper, right? But write down a different varieties like kale, spinach, or maybe romaine lettuce. Maybe you do butter leaf lettuce. That's 4 different types of greens. You got your onions, you got your garlic, you got your bananas, you got your apricots, you got mango or whatever. So write down the different types of foods that you're eating. Aim for 30 a week and then increase from there. Question 49, what are the top most important things when going raw? Top 4, I will say top 4. Number 1, planning. Number 2, prep. Number 3, consistency. And number 4, ongoing learning. So continuing to learn, like grabbing the bundle so that you can learn more recipes, learn more about the raw diet. That's a great way to do that too. But continue your education because science changes, we learn new things, and it's good to stay on point with that because there's a lot of old information that's been debunked. Like, for example, the blood type diet, that's been debunked. It's, like 30 years ago, it was debunked. So has the protein combining theory. That's been debunked. You don't need to combine proteins at one meal. And the woman who promoted that originally, she regrets it. I watched an interview where she was like, I wish I never talked about that because now people continue to repeat the same old information. So it's important to continue learning for sure. And finally, question 50. What is one piece of advice you would give anyone feeling overwhelmed? Just focus one day at a time. That would be my top. And Blink of an Eye said, Holly says, I wish you had a hard copy of the bundle. Yeah, we wish too, but because there's 32 things in it and each thing has like hundreds of pages, it would cost a huge amount of money to print plus ship. So unfortunately, we can't do that. It would cost like hundreds of dollars for the bundle, and plus hundreds of dollars to ship it as well. So it's just we're not able to do print of the bundle. It's all digital. That's why we can sell it for $50. So grab the bundle here and download it before June 30th and enjoy all of the content. So I'm gonna go now so Nate can go live and make some crackers. So head on over to his page to watch that. Thank you so much, and fruit on.